The Louisville Cardinals. This is not an NBA team that's tanking. It's a college team that looks like the worst college team at the high major level I can remember. This is a team that has talent too. Like, they should not be this bad. They absolutely should not be this bad, but they have really one ball handler that they can rely on in L. Ellis. And then when teams just try and take him out of the game, it becomes exceptionally hard for them to initiate any offense whatsoever. And Ellis can get a little bit turnover-y from time to time as it is. This team, it just looks like every team that plays Louisville is ready for every single action that they're going to run every single time. There is no it seems like there's no creativity. It seems like there's no trying to manufacture open shots. It looked like 3 or 4 of their 5 best players are like 4s. So spacing is hard there, right? Like, spacing is very difficult, and it's hard to manufacture shots if you can't manufacture spacing because you can't shoot. But like, they don't really shoot well. They don't manufacture open shots with like interesting, intricate sets. They turn the ball over like crazy. Like, this is like the least functioning offense I've seen in a long time at the college level.
Yeah. If you're not going to shoot it as a coach, you've got to step up and scheme a little bit more. You got to find ways to get guys open near the basket. You've got to create movement patterns that are simultaneously effective at opening up the lane and unpredictable. So defenses can't hone in on tendencies that you can take care of the basketball in certain ways. And I'm not one to throw any coach under the bus. That's just not what I like to do, because I know how hard this job is and can be. The one thing I have noticed from Kenny Payne, not necessarily a critique, but certainly something that caught my eye, is that a lot of his responses and his media answers tend to be revolving around playing harder and having more fight and buy-in from the players in that regard. And while I think the vibes are pretty far down in Louisville, and that's a fair, constructive criticism to have of the guys within that program, I think that there also needs to be some activity to try to meet them halfway, right? To realize the limitations of the club, to understand the personnel that you have in order to field a strong defense and play all of those bigger wings that they have, and just find a way to, whether it's constant pressure on the defensive end of the floor so you can get out and play in transition and create early, easy buckets, that gets your energy, that gets your momentum up. Something. And it seems like a lot of it right now is the rah-rah, like, we got to buy in, we got to try harder, we got to dig deeper, the cliches as opposed to the tactical fixes.
Yeah, here's the thing. Their defense has not been that bad since Maui. Like, they played Maryland, they gave up 79 points in 71 possessions. They played Miami, they gave up 80 points in 74 possessions. They played Florida State, they gave up 75 and 69 possessions. Like, that's not good. It's certainly not what you would want to see, but the defense is like not the problem here. The defense is aggressively not the problem here. It is the offense. The offense is a nightmare. Like, and you don't manufacture offense by playing harder. You manufacture offense by running sets or doing creative things or trying to space it a little bit more. Like, this team shoots 28% from 3. They take, I guess, like a reasonable amount of threes for the fact that they shoot 28%, but like, they just turn it over like crazy. They don't really go to the glass and like offensive rebound either, which is kind of staggering to me. This team currently is, let's see here, 314th in the country in offensive rebounding rate, despite the fact that they're like playing, JJ Traynor, Jalen Withers, and Brandon Huntley Hatfield as their most common lineup. And then have guys like Kamari Lands, Roosevelt Wheeler, Sidney Curry. Like, these guys should be crashing the glass. Like, manufacture offense that way, manufacture extra possessions that way. This is a disaster. Like, this is, I have kind of seen enough from this to where if they go like 2-30 or whatever they're on pace to go, I'm good with them deciding Kenny Payne is not the guy. Like, that would be okay to me. I am typically never in favor of a team firing a guy after one season. I think that in college you need to get time to build a program, but like, I just haven't seen anything that makes me think that there is like scheme coherence there that will work.
Look, the two most efficient modes of offense are offensive rebounding and transition. And you can call that hustle plays. I think that there are different ways schematically that you tap into that. One of them is certainly sending more guys to the glass, and I think Louisville has the personnel for it. I think the other is just deciding you're going to be more aggressive. You're going to trap more. You're going to shoot passing lanes a little bit more. Give them the green light to turn defense into offense so that they get extra possessions. I mean, how many, young NBA teams have we watched over the last half decade or so that when they're super, super young and they don't have the talent to hang with everybody, they're just more aggressive in everything that they do. They're okay with making some of those mistakes, but it's about flying around out there, trying to create something to happen. And hey, maybe one night you hit enough threes and you just play a ton in transition to outscore somebody else. I think that's got to be Louisville's mentality here, particularly knowing that they're really struggling to create anything in the half court.
Or maybe you try and slow the game down, right? Like play at a snail's pace, right? Just limit possessions and then try and increase variance, right? Like maybe that's what you do. Maybe you bring the ball down, you do what Virginia does. You try and run offense, you try and create a shot. But like, then again, like I don't know that they're like manufacturing shots, I guess, by running offense either. So yeah, there's just not much here that is good. And like, I guess that they were excited about Kenny Payne bringing maybe like DJ Wagner and like going and recruiting. Well, they lost. Like, doesn't seem like they're going to get DJ Wagner. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but like their transfer haul last year was underwhelming in an era where you have to hit the transfer portal hard. If you don't have a plan to hit the transfer portal hard as a high major program, you are falling behind your competitors at this point. That is the reality of the transfer portal. This is bad. Louisville should never be this bad. Louisville should have higher expectations. This is a team in a program that makes an exceptional amount of money because they have an incredibly good deal with the stadium. What do you want to call it? Like it's the Yum Center. I know Yum that. Center, like they have a great deal there where they make a lot of the funds. They can afford to pay a buyout if they have to. And they have a lot of financial benefactors that I'm certain would be willing to pay a buyout. I know it sucks to maybe do it to one of your own. And let's see how the season goes. Maybe they get better. Maybe they show signs of life in the second half. Maybe they adjust the scheme here in order to make some changes. They have a 9-game layoff between the NC State game or a 9-day layoff, including Christmas, obviously, between the NC State game and the Kentucky game. Maybe that's your window to try and do some things a little bit differently, right? Maybe you can try and implement some things there that you haven't been able to. But yeah, no, this is if we're at the point now where like that staff, I think, should be worried at this point. Like this is bad.
College basketball is better when Louisville is good. So I think we're all rooting for this to turn around and even just show signs of life throughout the rest of the season that keeps recruits, keeps transfer portal hopes alive to keep things going.